as I've been saying, the military, I said, there's no hope for them. None whatsoever. They're a bunch of swine. And for a country that claims it's Christian, that keeps wanting to put people to death and put children at higher risk of getting killed by perpetrators, let's have the DP more on people that are rapists. Yeah, that's awesome. So it means that the perpetrators, who are socios, that are going to start doing far worse things to their victims than they are right now, because they're pretty much walking right now. Okay, these fake crusaders, all they're doing is trying to empower men even more to kill us. Yay! Okay, so Tampa, Florida, again, psychotic Tampa, Florida, that wants to also bring up the DP for child predators, which they're really for them and want to kill children. That's lovely. Has this problem. Okay, so a Tampa airman who suffered PTSD, which, by the way, is a disorder. It is not what I would call a mental illness per se. Being a sociopath is a disorder. It's a disorder. It's not that something you would go, that's a mental illness. No, it's a disorder, meaning they're completely of sound mind and they're making choices and they're just psychotic and they have a lot of problems. Okay. So also PTSD is probably one of the most misunderstood things out here. It does not make you go and cause and go kill people and be violent. Those are additional things on top of, if they even have that. I do not believe that most of these people that they're claiming have it. I go, those people, if they do have it, it would be they have it and something else. But this is what happened in this story. And it's going to show how they weaponize mental health issues, okay? And how sociopaths create mental health issues in other people. And how they weaponize it on the victim and do this thing. This story was just like, oh, man. I was going to do this other story because it's a lot longer and it's a whole other thing, but it's still, same topic type of stuff. But this one has to go first. It's just, Okay, so senior airman Chelsea Woodward. If I'm butchering your name, forgive me. I do it all the time. Okay, now stationed at MacDill Air Force Base, detailed that ordeal that meshed with a troubling pattern of how military sexual assaults, called MST, are investigated. Woodard, 30, expected a long career in the Air Force when she enlisted 7 years ago. She probably saw the whole thing, like, this, do something great for your country and you're going to be so rewarded and we love you and, we're going to treat you better than, anybody else. I had this whole bullshit, and then the reality is they're a bunch of garbage when you go up in there. Okay. It was my retirement plan. I wanted to serve, and this was the answer. Nothing is the answer. We will find out in life that nothing is the answer. Not anything. Okay, but her dream took a nosedive about 3 years ago on Asan Airport Base in South Korea. A pair of short clips from the night of the incident show a smiling Woodard. She was celebrating her 27th birthday, but she recalls an airman she didn't know lurking in the shadows. This is where government starts going, you know the guy, you know him, he's trying to know who you are, so now you know him. Did he say hi to you? You now know your perpetrator. This is where they start pulling this crap too. But anyway, everywhere I went, he was there. He was somewhere close, and I kept seeing him, sort of in the background. I have no idea who he was. Nope, but then they sit there and consider that you know him now. They did. They tried to do this with my perpetrator, one of my early ones. They're like, oh, he must have seen you around before he preyed on you. I go, no, he didn't. I never seen this guy before in my life. He's known to my friends. That's it. They tried to make up a story. They literally tried to fill this thing that wasn't even there. And it wasn't even the MO of the guy for doing it. It was like an opportunistic thing. Okay, anyway, so they go, Woodard said he followed her after the party and offered to take her home. Up, you know him now. That's it. Yep, that's where they're getting all their fake info and they're mishmashing information, and it's not correct. It's not correct. It's just not. This right here, she don't know. He be trying to know her. That's the thing. Okay, but later trapped her. He stood in front of the door. I could not get out. I remember saying no. Okay, so here she is. She's a woman of color. And then they go, Woodard said the next morning she was bleeding, and at that point she realized she'd been raped. That's right. He's perfect for the military because that's the guy they want in the military. They consider you a weak woman, and now you're going to see it. I remember crying, bawling up on the floor, and I went through this phase of who am I? Why am I here? You know, and so then after Woodard reported the allegation, she claims the base commander tried to disrupt the investigation. Of course, because they're all a bunch of rapist gangbangers. Okay, so she said when she pushed back, she was the one who got in trouble. Aren't we all suffering? We're suffering, and we're suffering from some garbage women who want to be some bully celebs. Okay, they built up the paper trail to just defame me, essentially. And they were false claims of me coming late and leaving when I want to. Just like stupid stuff, right? It's like, yeah, I think the rape is a lot more important. You got a rapist up in here. They're like, no, that's what we want, dude. This is who we empower. Woodard said that nothing happened to the suspect, but she was treated like one. Absolutely. I've been treated like a suspect, and he got promoted and moved to another base. Take this concept and put it into anything. The music industry, the entertainment industry, lawyers, just pile of shit government on any sector, in any organization of government. This is their bullshit. You're a suspect because you're a rape victim. You're the one that's vile and you're ruining male supremacy, and how dare you disempower any rapist pile of crap man, and mostly a white man, but I don't know what color the dude is in here, okay? He could be another black male. But they go, but the entity itself is a white supremacist entity, and that's what we're talking about, and how they didn't used to let women in, and even if they did, it wasn't, you know, they're like, they just can't pass our test. Our male supremacy test. So this is our test that women have to pass. It's our rules and laws. You have to pass our effing test. That shit right there. So 2 separate examinations by Air Force psychologists glazed over her rape claim and suggested she was mentally ill. And they claim Woodard had PTSD and indicated she should be kicked out of the Air Force. Okay. This is where it got weaponized, and I was like, oh, no, we got to do the story. This is the crap right here. And we seen it in the Heard case, too, and I go, this is bullshit. What happens is when the socio goes and he harms people, or she harms people, she causes mental illness in other people. And they're ignoring this major factor. I would not call it mentally ill. I would call it they gave him a disorder. But they're using it just right here like a weapon. Now you're insane, so we're going to kick you out. And the rapist is totally mentally fit because what they want in the military is a sociopath. Like, legitimately, that's what they want. They need a killing machine. Somebody that has no emotion. Somebody that doesn't give a fuck about murdering a slew of people. And can walk out and go, yay, I did the best that this crap, right? Then they come out. Like the halfway healthy ones, if they were healthy before they got in there, come out with PTSD. And it's like, yeah, because you're not insane. Like, you were not born a total sociopath. Like a lot of them are, though. So we saw some of what was going on here. So when the kids were born and they grew up to be a bunch of sociopath piles of crap, their parents are like, we're going to throw them into the military. I'm like, that's wonderful. We just threw a bunch of serial killers up in the military, and then they go and harm everybody in the military. So we see the pattern, like exactly what's going on. It's a hot mess. They're all a bunch of socios that are sitting there running that shit up there. So, of course, they could sit here and look at that and go, you weak woman, we need to get rid of you. You're sitting there, you didn't take that rape good. You need to get out of here. You're mentally ill. That's what they did here. So, and they go like this. So based upon extensive evaluation, she does have a psychotic condition rendered her unsuited for continued military service. The report stated, I know that I'm not crazy, she said. I know that I'm telling the truth. Then to have people that wear the same uniform as me paint me as crazy, I was angry. Civilian clinicians, would later diagnose Woodard with PTSD related to the sexual assault. But that's correct. It's related to the perpetrator gave her PTSD, a disorder, because they're disordered people. But the government demanded yet another military examination. Finally, there was an about face in an Army psychologist report. He determined, determined she was not mentally ill and that the previous reports were wrong. Woodard was diagnosed with PTSD. The symptoms developed after the alleged rape. Exactly. In fact, I kept telling people, I go, the therapist said that that's not mental illness. And they're saying she's not mentally ill. They kept telling like people this. I go, how come everybody keeps running around calling that mental illness? It's not mental illness. It's a disorder. But anyway, they kind of framed it that way now. Like, she's not mentally ill. She was diagnosed with PTSD with the symptoms developing after the alleged rape, right? So a causation. So it would be like you're in the military and you're off in war and you're getting shot at and you watch all your buddies get killed. And then you didn't have PTSD before that. And then you come out and all of a sudden you got PTSD because the experience was so traumatic that you continually, are in this thing about it. So the causation was because of those actions. And in this case, the actions were caused by the perpetrator. She did not go in there. She wasn't mentally ill. So Woodard was relieved, but still angered by the process. They were just trying to call her nuts. Yeah. Anyways, so the Department of Defense Office of Inspector General, the person who has a problem here is the men in charge of the military. Those guys are the abusers. Those guys are the ones that create sociopaths at home. Their kids. Holy crap. And it's totally documented that they do. That's actually one of the things in the cluster of fucks of parenting that causes a serial killer. The military dad. Okay, that was one of them. The overly religious parent. Actually, any religious parent. It depends on how they are. But if you look at the case that they just arrested that mom, that's a good example. She was an everyday mom of America. She absolutely was. She literally represents almost every other parent from the 1980s, and none of them got busted. And as you saw in the 70s and the 80s, there's all these mass serial killers, right? They literally have not put this together in their own brain. The professionals have. The stupid public has not. And I go, well, why is government just letting it happen? Because the government has that information. This is the difference between the dumb public and government. So government has the profiling and what those things that were included in their upbringing, right? And what helped create them into this serial killer monster, right? But also what they're ignoring is that a rapist is literally no different than the serial killer. It's just that not all of them may murder, but they might when you start putting the DP out there so they don't get DP'd, right? Because they don't want to die. They're a bunch of socios, so whatever it takes to not get busted, they will go to extremes because that's part of their disorder. And I go, they're dumb as shit, dude. And then plus they sit there and preach thou shalt not murder. I'm like, well, these should be the last people asking to kill people off, So anyway, that's them. They like to make things worse, and they'll do anything for their cult. And this is part of their cult, which is odd because they're not supposed to be worshiping a country. And there's a whole thing to this on their hypocrisy, though, on the things that are hypocrisy in their religion. But yeah, so they're doing this bullshit. Okay, so what is godly about going off into the world and killing everybody? That thing right there, they're supposed to turn the other cheek. I just let them rape them, right? I was like, no, but this thing right here is really bad. I was saying that the military is the most impossible thing to fix because just generally it's not healthy. The human nature of that is actually not healthy at all. None of it. But you can't remove it due to the climate of the universe here. But I was saying, hopefully in the future, probably after we're gone, that it would no longer be an entity, and that things would be taken care of by technology or whatever, because for the human it is not healthy, and there's really nothing you could do to make it healthy. The mindset about it, there's nothing you could do to make it healthy. It's literally like, I'm a socio and I'm going to create this entity and we're going to go do all this crap, and then we're going to teach like non-violence to the public, but we're going to be violent psychotics and go rape and murder a bunch of innocent people in other countries because we don't agree with whatever the case may be, right? Or countries that are over, harming their own people, this thing and that thing. But for the human factor, there's nothing about it to be healthy. There's nothing you could do to make it healthy. So therefore, it's something that probably should be weeded out over time. I mean, to say right now, that would be insane. But I'm saying that in the future, as a forward thinker, that's the only way you could correct this garbage right here. Because they're a pile of trash. The people that are okaying this conduct, because that is the man that they want, is the rapist. That is, it absolutely is. That's the monster that they want. The one, the feeling guy, the no emotion, and just ravage, the planet. That's the men that they want and women in the military. But you get people that are human like this, and they're getting PTSD without even being on a war field. And the public was literally disrespecting any victim that got PTSD from their bullshit and tried to like downgrade it to, oh, the military has it worse. No, they don't. My ass got bombed. My ass got bombed twice in America on a public street. It's like literally being in a war field just because the media didn't come and cover it. Oh, okay. So they claim they're investigating, and the DOD data indicates their ordeal is not unique. Of course not. There are a bunch of rapists up in there. They let Jeffrey Dahmer go into the fucking military and rape a bunch of guys. I'm surprised he didn't murder and eat people at the fucking military. Maybe he did, and we just don't know about it yet because they're dead. I don't know. Was there anybody missing when Jeffrey got in there? Military sexual assault is said to be underreported. Well, they teach them not to report it. Okay, so male supremacy and the sociopath, the way that they train them, is man up. I hate this language, man up. Okay, nobody should be even saying that shit, but they go man up and then take it. You know what I mean? And then if you don't, it's proving your weakness. And then therefore, if you report it, you're just weak and, we're going to kick your ass. It's kind of like this thing. And then it says, and 60% of the victims who have reported the crimes claim they face retaliation. Trust about, I don't know. What about these 40%? Who's claiming that they didn't get retaliated on? Every case that I've reported on, I got retaliation. There's not one. And when I start reporting on other people who I'm not involved in their case, I get retaliation. It's not me claiming that they raped somebody. It's them raping somebody else, and I bring it up. And then I get retaliation on from those parties. Then I also get retaliation on from their garbage female pals. And I'm getting more of that than I am of even men. And I want to make that clear because I'm paying more attention to that. I'm like, you know what? It's weird. I'll get this one jerk. Like, I'll get this, like, way out there idiot. And he, like, starts saying all this crap, right? And I'm just like, get the hell out of here. And then all of a sudden, I'll get this slew of these garbage women sitting there defending abuse, defending all these things, starting to go at me, starting to do all this shit, starting to do, like, bully tactics all over the place, in the media, whatever they're doing, right? Because they're all over the place. And they don't consider themselves bullies. They consider themselves healthy people. They're not healthy people, but that's their normal. And they're psychotic. Those people have a problem. They absolutely do. I cannot believe half the things that have been sent to me, but and it's been women that actually have been threatening violence on me. Surprisingly, again, it wasn't guys that was doing that. It was some females, and at least several that I have now, threatening violence on me. I mean, That's part of the problem. Okay, so then, and who've reported crimes claim they retaliate. So they go, it has to stop, and that's why I wanted the public to know what happened to me. Well, I already know what the hell happened to you because I had to deal with the military guy that assaulted me. And so when he assaulted me, they're like, God, you're really lucky because, I was like, what do you mean? Yeah, and then he has like, then they let him go sell machetes, okay? So they were letting him, the insane thing about this story was he was on probation for beating up women. And then I had no idea because they didn't tell the public. I have no idea. I didn't even know he was like, I don't remember about the military thing, but it popped up in some portion of this. But he was a total criminal. Like, he was trying to run scams and do all these things. And then he was running back to San Diego and stuff. And then he was selling weaponry to military officers for like awards or something. So he was making machetes so they could put their bullshit on the machetes and on these axes. And then he busts into the house and tries to beat me up and all this crap. And then he flees and the cops come and they're like, oh, you're so lucky. You're just really lucky because, it could have been really worse. And it's like, excuse me? Yeah. And then like he's on probation and for beating up the woman that I think showed up here with him. I'm like, excuse me? Yeah, so the woman that he showed up with was his wife or girlfriend, and he beat her up, got probation for it, and they were hanging out, came into the house together. So they both busted their own asses up in here. And so then the cops are like, you're so lucky. Okay, so then they give me like this restraining order, right? This like automatic restraining order, and I go, okay, well, we gotta get that guy. So they're like, okay, he's got to show up to his probation officer, this morning, and so we'll call you back when he shows up so I can serve him for the other part of the restraining order. And then all of a sudden they don't call me. All of a sudden he's AWOL. They had a warrant out for him or something like that. And then it was a big cover up because then all of a sudden it's like, oh great, nobody knows where he is. I'm in the house. He knows how to break in the house, and we got to get the hell out of here. And technically, we were owed money for the situation that happened here. There was a whole thing that he did here. And he didn't own the property anymore. He lost the property and he's trying to scam people to get more money. And then he goes back to San Diego, I guess. It looked like nothing happened here because when I did research, it looked like he went back to San Diego and was selling machetes. How is he selling weapons being on probation for beating up women? 2 now on his record. And the second one, I think they helped him cover that up because I didn't stop anything. I was trying to figure out, do I go to court over this? Like, what is going on? And then the cops just covered it up, I guess, and just let him flee. Nobody dropped that case. They're the ones that were supposed to call me, and the cops were supposed to call me in the morning to serve the paper. And then they didn't. And then it went under the radar. And I go, yeah, he's part of the military in San Diego. And why is he back in San Diego selling machetes? It was nuts, dude. I was like, I didn't even know he did that. We were looking online, and my friend at the time, when we were packing up, and I think they were doing like laundry in the garage, and they pull out this huge machete, and they're like, dude, the dude like hid this machete behind the washer. I go, why is he having a machete up in here? We could have all got killed, dude. What the hell? And then, but we didn't know at the time that he was selling those. So we have a backing to the story because I always said he had a machete and he hid it, and he's not supposed to have weapons when you're on probation. So how is he making machetes on probation? Like, I have questions about this. So they're the military. I go, they're fucked, dude. There's no way to fix them. None. I hate to say it, but that's like literally the truth about it. There's nothing that you could say in this situation to make them healthy people. You're going to tell them, don't be violent? They're in the damn military. Like, the whole mindset about this, that's why I'm like, it's a lost cause. You need to sit there and focus on how to get rid of this thing and how to better protect the country and not have people being a bunch of psychotic, murdering pieces of crap. And quit throwing your serial killer kids into fucking shit like this. Because that's exactly what happened. They threw all their criminal kids into the military, and they turned like 18 or whatever now. But they threw them into these things, and then they're off raping and killing people. Like, they think, oh, this is the best way to deal with them. Like, not everybody there's a psychotic, okay? So you have people like this that go join it thinking it's a lifelong career. I'm going to be respected. It's this and that. And then they get pushed into basically like prisoners. Like, if you go into a prison, you're basically getting the people that should be in prison up in the military. And then they're just off doing crimes like that. They're psychotic. And then, yeah, then they just let those guys go. I go, yeah, we have a complaint here with the department and in relation to the military. They're probably going to sit there and say, oh, he wasn't on the base at the time. Some bullshit. I don't know if they let him go or whatever, but he was still dealing with the military and selling stuff to them for, like, awards. I killed 20 people. I don't know. Some fucking award site. So I found a website. It was hidden now, but I found the website and it had all these photos of weapons that he made. And I'm looking at it going, he's on probation. Why is he having weapons? You could call the weapon an award, but it's a real machete. Just because you put congratulations on a machete doesn't make it any less of a weapon.